So my name's Julia Spear, and I am from a small town in Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania. And I went to school also for my undergrad in a small town in Pennsylvania. And I really fell in love with research and science there. And that's what kind of pushed me to pursue a PhD. And I got into Notre Dame. And I then spent 6 years working on that and really building a technical foundation in cell biology and specifically single cell biology and, learning about cell division and in cancer especially. And so I finished my PhD in January of this year of 2024, and I started kind of looking through the job market and thought I really want to get into biotech or pharma, kind of move out of academia. And I found it really hard. And, the job market was kind of tough. And so then I heard about the ESTEEM program, and they were recruiting recent PhDs, and it was the first year they were doing it. And, I thought, kind of why not? I do love South Bend, and I own a home here. I've lived here for 6 years, and I thought, why not spend one more year? And, how they got me was you're gonna learn a lot about business and innovation, entrepreneurship, but you're also gonna build a huge network of people that hopefully will help you catapult your career. And so those were the main kind of things that drew me in. And yeah, I mean, I'm like halfway through now and I've built a huge network already. And even just talking to people in biotech, in pharma, and telling them kind of about my background and what I'm doing now, they're like, oh, yeah, that's amazing. You're going to do great and you're going to be able to get a job like that. So I think we're me and 2 others are the first 3. So, my PhD was in biomedical science and more kind of on the, cell biology, biochemistry side. There's someone also from organic chemistry, and then there's someone from engineering. And so kind of from 3 different walks of the STEM, um, sectors. And so 'cause I have such a technical background and now we're gonna learn about business, and that's something that's really gonna help me. Even if I before the program started, I thought I'd end up in a lab and maybe, in a biotechnology company or in a pharmaceutical. But now that I'm in and learning about business and talking to people that are program managers or, heads of medical affairs or clinical kind of programs, I'm now seeing those as other job opportunities that maybe I'm not meant to be in a lab, in a dark microscope room for the rest of my life. For me personally, I guess the goal that I've seen is I wanna be able to understand not just the research, but how does that research then turn into a product? And for me, especially if it's something that's gonna, help in, oncology, rare disease, something like that, how is that treatment going from research to the actual patient? Because that's the goal. And so that's something I'm learning a lot, and it's probably through mostly my capstone experience, but I'm learning a lot of, trying to identify the market potential, right? I mean, is there a need for this treatment or drug for somebody? Um, and that has been through many classes. I'm learning about finance. I mean, the joke in the summer was I never thought I'd say I would take an accounting class, you know? After everything that I've done for the past 6 years. And so learning about even those small things that you need to know for business, right? Like the financial performance, you know, and when you're in a lab and you're doing that technical, you don't really think about money. Like the supplies are there, the equipment is there, and you use it. You don't think about, the money it costs to upkeep everything and buy more supplies, and so knowing about all of that, I think, has really helped, and I've learned a lot. Yeah. When I really decided I was gonna do Esteem because I had Freely said the network and learning about business. But the third was that you get to do this capstone experience and work with an industry leader. And I think that's really what pushed me over the edge to say I'm doing this. And I knew that there were some opportunities to work with biotech and one company called Amicus Therapeutics, and it was founded by a Notre Dame alum, and it is a, biotechnology company that, makes treatments for rare and neglected diseases, and so it's probably a mid-sized company, I would say, but I'm helping them gain knowledge in a sector that they really wanna get into, but they wanna make sure that it makes sense for them to get into it, right? Again, like, back to the business decisions that a company has to make. And so they're looking into gene therapy, which, has kinda had a hype around it for the past couple years, and there's been a couple FDA approvals through the past since, 2017 in rare disease, and they're trying to understand, can we get into gene therapy? Do we have the, capacity to bring in programs and make them successful? And by success, it's not only, getting them FDA approved, getting them into patients, but it's also commercial success, right? Because there's actually been some gene therapies that have been approved, for a year, and there's only been 5 patients that have been treated. And you think about the cost that it takes to manufacture gene therapy, all the R&D. So there's just a lot of logistical questions around gene therapy and how it becomes successful. And so I'm helping them understand that. And, one of the really, kinda scary things that you start with in ESTEEM is that you have to do a bunch of interviews with people. You have to get out there and talk to people. I don't know if I consider myself a shy person, but I definitely get nervous in new situations, and so trying to get confidence in talking to people and, just trying to learn from them and, learn for me what makes gene therapy successful. And I've been able to connect with so many people, professionals in biotech, that again, I'm going back and creating that network that's hopefully gonna, help me in my professional career. Talking to doctors, I'm talking to patients, learning about their journey. And so I mean, I think that's the biggest part right now that I'm working through is those interviews, but, after that, I get to then help them kind of build this. Can we do this investment? Can we go forward with gene therapy? And that's gonna bring in all the classes I'm taking now and learning all of those skills. I love Notre Dame and South Bend, and they go hand in hand. And I think coming in for grad school, you kinda get this well-rounded view of the city, you know? And not only does Notre Dame offer a bunch of amazing things, I love football. I love tailgating, and that's something I didn't get in my undergrad. I went to a very small one, and being from a small town, South Bend is huge. And so there's so much to do, and it's so fun. And, I even last year when I didn't think maybe I'd still be here, my one exciting thing that I was like, "Oh, we still get to be here and we still get to do this," was football. I get to tailgate for one more fall. And, in downtown South Bend, there's just so many restaurants and bars that I love to go to. And, I think about the South Bend Cubs, like, just a minority team and going to games in the spring, like, I didn't think I'd be able to do that again. So South Bend has so much to offer, and I'll just go to kinda like the cost of living. I mean, it it really is an affordable place to live and have fun, and you're so close to Chicago, being able to take a train now so easily, go in for the day and come home. And I mean, Michigan's beautiful too. It's just a beautiful area. And that's why, I mean, I think I spoke to it a little earlier that it was okay for me to live in South Bend for one more year. I wanted to take that technical background that I built and really get it to a patient, let's say, right? And I think if I would have stayed in the lab, I would've still been a force for good. We're doing this amazing research here at Notre Dame, and I'm so glad that I got to experience that before also doing ESTEAM just to know the amazing things that are happening. But now that I'm in this other building that's full of innovation and so many people collaborating and working together, I'm seeing that you can take that research and you can turn it into something else that's gonna be life-changing for people, right? And I think that's my ultimate goal, and that's why I really wanted to do this program, was to get connected more closely to that patient, the translational type of medicine that some people talk about. And I wish it was something I knew more about in my first couple years, you know? I had heard about the Idea Center and I learned about it, and maybe it was just the lab I was in that, it was very basic cell research. We weren't working on a specific type of drug that was gonna cure cancer, right? It was learning about cancer, and it's research that's gonna help in future labs and future research, right? It's foundational. But yeah, moving forward, I wanna be further ahead in that chain, right? If you're a curious scientist that wants to know if you can do more, you should consider STEAM. If you have a strong technical STEM background and you are curious on what you can do more with your professional career, you should consider STEAM because it really helps you open doors to future possibilities and future networks, and your opportunities have no end. Are in your PhD right now and you're trying to decide what to do next, know that there's other opportunities other than a postdoc and continuing in academia because you can continue your learning. You can learn about new things to do with your career and leveraging that technical background and join a STEAM because the opportunity's here and the network's here and you just got to use it. And you get in this bubble when you do your PhD, and you're in the lab, you're surrounded by other people that are doing their PhD, you're surrounded by a bunch of professors that their PhD, did their postdoc, and are now a professor. You don't see those opportunities that there are outside of academia, and that's something that's been beautiful for me to see. And, talk to through the capstone, talk to all these people that have their PhD, but they're program managers and they're I can't even think of all the other titles they are, but they're doing really meaningful things with their PhD, and yeah.